I think we need to look at Japan's example. Japan's economic crisis started in 1990, 28 years ago. At that time, their government debt was 60% of GDP. Now they've taken it up to 250% of GDP. And by having large budget deficits every year, they've kept their economy from collapsing into a Great Depression. We need to learn from Japan's experience. They could have invested that government money more wisely. They say they wasted it building bridges to nowhere and paving the Japanese countryside. Well, the US government debt now is roughly 100% of US GDP. The US GDP is $19 trillion in size. That suggests that the US government could borrow and deficit spend another $19 trillion before the government debt even hit 200% debt to GDP. And of course, that's assuming 0% GDP growth. If the government spent $19 trillion, let's say over the next 10 years, the economy would grow by 5 or 7% a year or more, and we would never get to 200% government debt to GDP.
What are you going to get the Americans to fund so you can grow the economy in that way?
Yes, so it's very important how this money is spent. If we just spend all of this new government borrowing and spending on excessive consumption and on unnecessary wars, then ultimately, some point down the road, not next year, probably not within 10 years, but ultimately the government will go bankrupt. We don't have to continue spending this money on wars in order to stimulate the economy. We can get the same economic stimulus by having the government invest in green energy. For instance, $1 trillion in solar energy, $1 trillion in genetic engineering, $1 trillion in biotech, $1 trillion in nanotech. And $1 trillion is an enormous amount of money. If they were to undertake these sorts of investment programs, this would induce a new technological revolution that would create technological miracles and medical marvels, completely restructure the US economy, grow us out of this consumer debt bubble that we are in at the moment, and bring us into a new era of prosperity that would benefit not only the Americans, but everyone on the planet.